Let's jump right in. Hey, let's jump in. Get some of the... Here we go. Hopefully this is good. Shrink down Mr. Playlist. Something smallish. Hero of Synth. Alright. Let's do it. Whoa. We don't want that. There we go. Jesus Christ. Yeah, getting a little disenchanted with the Adobe stuff, as if I wasn't bad enough already. Right, where are we at? Where are we at with this stuff? About... Are we done yet? We'll just be done. It's like so close to done. Let's just get done. Let's do something. All right. Cool. Jeez, where do I sign off? All right. Crazy, because I don't know what I want to happen here that I didn't already do. Let's see here. Practically white. Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. We need to get rid of that. Okay. Might just be down to really small things. Small bits of dust. Hold on. This piece is so complex and it's so close to finishing that it's hard to like identifying where the outliers are, like the stuff that needs to be fixed is pretty hard. You tell it. You remember this piece. Good. I'm trying to finish it. I don't know if I can finish it today, but I feel like I can get close. Like, this looks good. Okay, let me do a couple things. Anyway, I'm going to be a little bit in the zone for a second. I keep coming back to it to address small things, and it really just needs a push. Platform fog, platform sunlight. Hope you're doing good. Look at all these fucking layers. It's insane. Okay. Hey, Danny. Going to try and crush this. Sometimes you walk away from it and keep finding things. You're doing great, though. Couldn't sit here and tell you if this was finished. For me, so it's not finished in this moment. It needs some finishing thing. Take some of that down a notch. Not in a hurry, thankfully. I did a good job of naming all my layers. And I guess what's causing this to happen is that there's I didn't account as well as I could have for the, like, when you shine a green light on a red object. So like wood is kind of red, right? And then animal fur, like moblin skin, like a hide, is also red. And these guys are all shades of red, and the trees are all shades of red. It's a little bit too much to just say, hey, you're gonna absorb all this green. They don't really do that. They tend to they're going to be a little bit resistant to the green. Now, other things that are green, like Link's costume, is green. So it's definitely going to receive that green. But things that aren't green, things that are the opposite of green, like red, not so much. It's not like I overdid it in the first place, but it definitely can't be as intense as I had it. Right? In any case, adjusting the opacity is a non-destructive way of sort of handling it. Basically constituting me doing near zero difference as far as anybody who's watching this stream. But this is the kind of stuff that if I didn't do it, I'd have nightmares. Same kind of deal with like the lines. The lines, let's take them down to 50%. Let's see what that does. We have to control the composition. That means not everything we drew is that important. Can't accentuate everything. If everything is important, nothing is important. Link is important, so we won't turn his lines off as much. Link is the centerpiece of it. Link is important. Link is important. Nice extra. We're gonna get her close to done. This Moblin guy, Pimp Daddy Moblin, is important too. Zelda's lines are very important. We can get away with 75%. So many random layers. But that's what I'm running into is like, okay, how do I make this guy more important? There's no slider to like make him more important. You have to make everything less important. Everything else but him becomes less important. Very, very tricky. So Moblin guy here stays at 75 as well. Under mobs, that's these guys. They maybe 66. They are actively hitting Link, after all. And then we just get to the guys on the bridge. Put them all at 50%. See what happens. To put them all at 0, they would effectively be paintings, and they would be pretty decent as paintings, I think, but not that's not their intention at this point. This is one of those pieces that I'm gonna, as soon as I upload it, I'm gonna see so many things that need to get fixed. It's gonna be stupid. But like, what can you do? Eventually you have to finish something. That's why I've got the wine here. This is the stuff. Not that wine is the stuff, but the if you have a mind like mine, you're inhibited with the possibility of that a little bit more prep or a little bit extra, like it's worth it to push it back. Brain, yeah. it's like but I do talk about this where it's like, you know, without something to give me a little courage, you know, I might never have like asked out my wife, you know, back in the day. I probably wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have been even hanging out with my friends that night, you know? It's like getting wasted was the point of getting together. It's a silly thing. But thinking too much is a problem. Your brain can be your own worst enemy. Okay. I'm also turning on some of these. These are sort of adjustment layers. Some multiply and overlay layers from the very beginning when I sketched all this stuff out 1,000 years ago. For the most part, they've been turned off. Let's see what happens when we turn them on. What they'll probably do is give some interesting depth. And so far, that appears to be what they're doing. But it makes sense to save them to last. Right now, they're definitely providing a lot of contrast between, like, the skin tone of this guy versus that guy. But for that guy, I don't think he needs to be that dramatic, you know, so we scale it down a little bit. And then we always have to squint, right? Just squint at this shit. To an extent, I was worried about all these guys massing together, but there's something about them actually massing together pretty well that seems to feed into the like crush, the intensity. And I don't dislike that. And the contrast, because we need the contrast here. That feels like that's working. Feels like there's a pretty good progression happening. Now, what I don't like... Hey, Zayla. Welcome, welcome. I'm attempting to put some finishing touches on this. Okay, so see how there's a huge step in the values between the shadow of this bridge versus the shadow on this platform. We have to do something about that. The platform fog layer is there, and we can just erase into that. So I'm going to do that a little bit. Ooh, that's a hard edge. Still too hard. Hardness at 0. Some of that stuff I still like though, so let's see here. Yeah, it's probably as good as that needs to be. Okay. Looks good like that. Okay, and then there's all these funny guys down here. Yep, that looks good. That's too much. Okay, Zelda. Zelda looks good with some of that. Okay, she doesn't need that very much. We're gonna turn all that on, but minimize it to like nothing. Okay. Right now I'm just scouting through all these layers and seeing what's turned off and seeing why it's turned off. Seeing if turning it back on helps. These guys become too dark. Let's turn it back on, but turn it down to nothing. Okay. Kind of like the contrast, but he doesn't need it that much. Okay. Kind of like these guys being darker, they sort of revert into silhouettes. That's kind of cool. So that's good. Now I remember what I was going to do. I was going to add some of this see how this guy, I added a bunch of like light to him and then cut him back down. But theoretically, some of that light can go onto these guys too. Now I remember. It's good, but it's not necessary. It's not really going to add anything that it needs. So why don't I just minimize that? Those guys are doomed anyway. And to the same extent, like this guy, he's just getting too important. Let's knock him back down a little bit. That's a little bit better. This fucking track sucks. Okay, how do we get out of it? Save me! Okay. I'll tell you guys a interesting thing that happened. Is I basically got fired from a gig yesterday. Which is like not happened in whatever. I mean, I've never really been like, Max isn't working out. But yesterday they were like, yeah, Max isn't working out. And that was a shock to me because I emailed my agent about it, and she called me. She's like, I just got a weird email. and I was a bit shocked. How do you say? It's like shocked, but not surprised. It was like, I didn't expect it, except like the project was so chaotic that I that after I absorbed the information, I was like, well, it would happen on this project. That would be the one. And for me, it was sort of a little bit frustrating because, like, I had not from client received anything but glowing praise for everything I turned in. I don't know what to make of that, except clients thinking it's funny to not be honest, I guess, or something, you know. But I guess it's a lesson. It's like as soon as it suited them to sort of find some sort of fault, they seized on it, despite whatever they said. And then I was still mortified because, you know, they reached out to my, so they like, I wouldn't have had, they could have been classy about it and been like, you know, we're just not going to extend Max into next week. And I'd be like, okay, well, that's as good as firing me, and I'll, you know, take it that way. To do it this way, which was like telling my agent essentially that they were dissatisfied and that there was nothing that we could do about it. It just really rubbed me the wrong way. But my agent, thankfully, had my back, and she was like, listen, this is the only ever time we've ever received feedback like this. And we're like, you know, so I just want to get your side of things so that, like, is this a us thing or is it a them thing? And I was like, it is a them thing. And, you know, I can't disclose here, but it was just sort of like, I took her through it and why it wasn't something that was logical, but from their point of view, you know, seemed typical. And she was like, good enough for me. But yeah, still rubbed me the wrong way. Well, you know, I finished out my day, and then by, well, 3 hours later, my agent booked me on another job to fill out the time that would have been on that job. So essentially, I'm down nothing. And yesterday was my first day on the new job, and today I did the second day, and it's like 9-day difference, and it's, you know, it's like whatever, I get paid the same. It's nothing different. So it's like, I don't know. It's happy to be on something a little bit more, I guess. Everyone agrees I'm a better fit for this project instead of the other one, but that's a little odd. A little bit of, in terms of, like, moments that stand out in my life. This will definitely be one for the stories that, because it's like, I've been on projects where I've walked away, but I don't think it's ever happened where clients had been like, yeah, Max isn't working out, and they, like, told my agent and, like, unbooked me for shit that I was already booked on. It's never happened. Ooh, lots of dropped frames. That's not good. Well, everything's fucked. Who cares? A Boxer says, Max has never failed anything in his life. He just drops things in order to maximize his priorities. I mean, truer words were never spoken. That's certainly how I handled most of my high school homework assignments, or almost anything else. You know, it's like everything's a priority. Like, when I do the stream, for instance, I'm like, the stream is like my top priority under all my other top priorities, which include basically everything that would normally be associated with actual priorities, which are like my wife, my kids, my family, my health, my proclivities, and then my work, and then what would it be? My ego. and then it's like streaming just under it. Streaming slowly feeds into the ego. That's the deal. If I started saying chat this and chat that, I know what you're talking about. Hey, chat, you don't understand. Only dyslexic people do that, okay? And there's nothing against people who are dyslexic, okay? But literally people whose eyes are so... If you can't... Yeah, no, like some people like have to like they have to be like this. They have to be like this. They have to be like, okay, now I can read. Now I can read what was written, you know. And I'm like the guy who's like squinting through like all the shit, and like I read it all like 3 times, and and I read it in the voice of the person, and then like 3 Looney Tunes characters in order to like get the context. Vertical monitor. Am I supposed to have that? What are you talking about? Oh, for the chat. Yeah. Got a bunch of shit, but none of it's hooked up. No, but chat. Listen, if I had like more than like 3 to 4 people like chatting at the same time, like it would become a priority, but that's not the case right now. Also, it's not about the chat. It's about me. Heavy Metal Official, since I know who you are, can I call you by your name, or should I just call you HMO? Okay. Heavy Metal Official is my buddy Zach. Zach, is anybody from Heavy Metal actually looking? Should I shift over to that other piece? I'm gonna go about another half hour. It's either I do this or I do that. That's not a big deal, but I'm trying to finish this thing. I won't finish it now, so it doesn't matter, but... Zach, look at all these fucking layers. Look at all this shit. Don't ever, like, make a piece this weird and big, right? It's crazy. All this, and it'll get, like, 65 likes on Instagram. I wouldn't worry about it. This is like a learning exercise for me. Mostly what I'm learning is to stop doing stuff like this. which like doesn't get, it's like I could put this on Reddit and it'll get like 135 upvotes, and then I could do like Zelda's eyebrow and it'll get like 1,500 votes, you know? So I'm learning a lot, mostly learning not to do this sort of shit. Right here, let me give you a snootful. This is the snootful of the details. All these little dudes charging forward. A lot of these like contrast details came in at the last second too. There's all these little dudes. Max, the hope is that we have a good network of art streamers that our community tunes into. There are a few other streamers, right? I mean, I'm so bad I can't pay attention to anybody's streams, let alone my own. So that the artists aren't at the mercy of the algorithm and people's stupid behavior. I don't know if you were here like 15 minutes ago, Zach, but I got fired from a job. Did you know that? It's like the first time that ever actually happened. Like the first time the client was like, it's not that big and it's not a union thing, but it was like a thing where they're like, yeah, Max just isn't working out. And my agent was like, she'd never heard those words in like 20. It was basically clients be crazy. That was what my agent said. She's like, clients are so weird right now. They're like bonkers, and they are like, they're just nuts. Like they don't know what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. I think one way to sum it up is that because what was funny was like the people that like I was under these like art directors, creative directors. I was like, okay. I was like, cool. You're my bosses today, and like, I mean, if this guy had shaved, I would have been like, are you a teenager? You are, you know, kind of a thing. You know how I shave just to look at my 40s and things like that. And Zach, I don't know if I've ever seen you clean shaven, but it's just one of those things where I was like, my goodness, this is an interesting era, and maybe I rubbed a feather or two the wrong way. Maybe I didn't quite adequately stroke the plumage. No, Zach, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. But never change. But also the for whatever reason, I was booked till Friday on this other job, and on Tuesday afternoon they called my agent. They're like, Max isn't working out. I've been on this job for like a week and a half. No, it's all good. Anyway, it was just one of those things where it's like, it's never happened. I was freaked out. But Zach, I know you get on about the agent stuff. So I want to share that my agent was like, Max, we're just sort of like, standard operating procedure is to call and figure out what the fuck happened, but we know it wasn't you, so just tell us what the fuck happened. And, you know, I explained basically that clients be crazy. I'd done my best. But realistically, like from my point of view, they had nothing but praised my work from that point on. It's totally commercial, just commercial, broadcast commercial. But younger creatives, and in a sort of like you'd expect layoffs at this company any second now. Maybe that's the best way to put it. So maybe people got jittery. I don't know what to say. And my agent was like, okay, well, I'll just call your regulars and we'll get you booked on the next thing. And then 3 hours later, I was booked through the rest of the week on a different project for another major thing, and it was done. And I'll probably be on it next week too, and I missed nothing. So there's no loss in, you know, and actually the only thing I lost was working for crazy people, or people who are maybe at best confused or bad at communicating in that moment. Maybe I should be charitable like that. No, my stream is fucked up. It's me. It's me. It's me. Okay, this music is fucking killing me now. We're gonna do something different. How can we do this? Here we go. Something different. No, it's not you. It's me. It's me. Okay, getting back to this. Anyway, you know, sometimes people do stuff and it, you know, their agents hang him out to dry. Wasn't the case in this case for me. So happy about that. I'm the problem. It's me. Yeah. This looks pretty good from a distance. Did anybody ever play the game Seventh Guest? Zach says, Max, if you're planning on doing a special stream, heavy metal theme stream, let me know. Slightly ahead, I can announce it. We can gauge how much turnout we can muster. I want to do this. Give me a little time. Give me a little time. I'm still going to do that thing. Let's call that organic. We'll just see. Right? It will look good, dope when it's done. Let's use that as bait. Right? How about this? You and me strategize. Let's use that as the bait for the next one. Right? Because I can finish that in like a day. That piece had been living rent-free in my head since I got on the heavy metal Discord. I had been like, well, what would I do? And then like that instantly popped into my head, and then I was like, all right, well, let's think if it, let's chew on it a while and see if it changes. And it never changed. It was just like, it's like that's what it wants to be. But it'll go like that, where like you make a post, it's like, yo, heavy metal artist Max, who did this piece on stream 2 weeks ago, is gonna crank out something crazy on this day. Now I'm thinking, so not this Saturday, but next Saturday, possibly next Friday night. Yes. My wife is going to go out of town for like one night. She's doing like a girls thing in Vegas. Sounds scandalous, but it isn't. Well, it might be scandalous, but won't have me up. It'll be... I'll be more worried about what she spends. So how about this? I'll try to finish that piece in between here and Thursday, so that you, going into Friday, can hang it up and say, yo, this is the piece this guy did. Oh, okay. Peace out, Zach. Zach is my man inside the union that I also belong to, that I cannot have trouble stomaching. But Zach is hopeful and I am jaded, but we have aligned interests. What you'll do, I'll put you in a position to be promoting it with ammo. And then either way, I'll do something cool. Let's call it Friday night. I'll get my parents to babysit my kids so I can just focus. Crank out. I'll do what I call a masterpiece marathon. I'll just do it all in one sash. We'll see how it goes. That'll be like a good, like earnest, like litmus test of like, okay, if we try, but we have, let's say we try to start a fire, but we really just have 2 sticks. Can we do it? Yeah, my wife is like out in Vegas and I'm like doodling on a computer. That's gonna how it be. Well, we can lead into it. Maybe I'll try to 2 days before, ideally. Okay, I'll shoot for Wednesday. How about that? Because that gives me like 6 days from now. That's nothing. It's not working out. Yeah, Nexus isn't working out. No, it seriously would sting, except for the fact that within 3 hours I was on to the next thing, and to that, like, it was almost like a reverse FU, you know, because it's sort of like, Zealot, show me what you're working on. Oh, just post it in the chat. I'll take a look. Adios, Zach. Yeah, Zayla, post it in the chat. I want to take a look. I'm eating chili right now that my dad made. Oh, cool. Okay, this is awesome. Look, the Digilizard, the big lizard. Final fight. Ah. Oh, 2009. The forward secret chili recipe apparently is 1/3 goat. I'm not joking. All right, we all see this. 2001. The big lizard final fight. Sonic, we can't beat him. Do you have an idea how to beat him? Yes, I have an idea. Charge your chaos energy and use chaos spear on him. It will distract him. I like this offsetness and the sort of the mirroring. Oh, over there, not perfectly mirrored. It's nicely balanced. This is very good. A little more. Sonic almost charged my chaos energy. This is a great pose. I like how you're using, can I zoom in more? There we go. You've got some great, like I can see you're using like construction to get the angle. No? That's what I would do. You've got a lot of, camera lens distortion in the right way, so your hands are this is a very these are fine roughs. This is good. This is good. I like this in the like clearly delineated foreground and background. Oh, BioLizard. I know it's written in your personal handwriting, so hopefully you don't take offense. Won't let you destroy a world. Then it goes upside down. Right? Is that not right? Oh no, it looks like it got hit. Looks like you need to add something to this to like make it look like he got hit. I'm curious what you were thinking. But this looks good. And then he's coming back. This is a good battle. I like this. Is the scale... See, this thing looks like it's huge. But then when Sonic or Zella gets close to it, it looks like it's not as big. But that's okay. Just something about it sort of makes it look that way for whatever reason. It's interesting. It is a... I think, like, what's his name? It starts in 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You wouldn't typically read a comic book that way. Sometimes in like Japanese comics, they'll do things that way, but almost without exception, in European comics and American comics, we try to read from left to right. So if I were you, what I would do is I would flip the image without the dialogue and then write in the dialogue. Oh, but then you're going to have this person talking before this person. That's interesting. See, this is why comics are really fucking hard. People don't think about like how and why that's hard, but it's really hard. Okay. All right, Zella, I'm going to leave you with that to think on. This looks really good visually, but the order feels like it needs... If I were you, I would save as much of the artwork as possible, because it's good. All of your artwork is good. The way that it's at opposition to the standard, like American, like Western format, basically. To go from 1 to 2. See, even if you number this 1, 2, 3, 4, people don't expect that. Okay, so that's going to be tricky. So that would be my biggest thing that I would comment on. But I love that you have drawn everything the way that you have. It looks really good. It looks really good. Okay, so if you can, and I know this won't be easy, because I used to do comic stuff, and I would run into problems with stuff like this. I'd be like, well, how do I tell the story where people are in the right place in the order that I want them to read the comic in the right way? And everybody just thinks that's easy, and it's not. It's not easy to do that. Because I can tell you're doing something with this layout. And if you were, if all this was Japanese, it would almost be right, except they would read this person first, right? And you'd have this part over here. Okay, maybe what you need to do is flip everything and then flip each individual image also, which is weird. But I wonder if you can track me on that. Flip the whole page and then flip each individual image, and then see what happens. Does that make sense? Because that should preserve the orientation a little bit. Maybe you wouldn't flip everything, but flip what you need to. Okay. All right. That's my comment on that. That's the thing. But it's looking really good. This looks like a crazy boss battle about to explode here. I hope your next page is something that looks like the bio lizard is exploding. Also, that almost looks like a smile. Is the bio lizard getting its butt kicked, or is it just playing along? That's interesting. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for more. Okay. All right, Zayla, thanks for popping your work into the chat. We all love to see the progress. We love to see it. All righty. So this is progressing ever so slowly. Okay, these guys need more lines. So those in the audience who are younger than 40 have probably never played or even maybe heard of the game The Seventh Guest. But when it came out in like whatever 1991, this was one of those like fully immersive. You've heard of Myst, I'm sure. Kind of like that, but it was one of those games that well, it was a horror game, unlike Myst. It was basically meant to scare the shit out of you, and it did. And this is the soundtrack to that game, and it's aged well, in my opinion. Part 1 explodes is on page 3. The part 1 explodes is on page 3. I'm currently working on page 2 now. Okay, keep going. But think about how in normal comics we read from top left to bottom right on the Western stuff. And in Japan, it's completely mirrored. But what you don't want to do is have things going from right to left. That's a no-no. If you can avoid it, please. Otherwise, it's confusing, and it doesn't need to be. Okay. I like that. Turn that off. No. Turn it on, but turn it down to 0. That's good. I almost like that better. The thing is, I did it on a Japanese version because it was like that for a test, but correct version is made after the comic that I have physically. Well, I mean, you can always try to do something different, but it isn't, I just want to be honest with you, it's not what I expected to read the comic in that order. And I've definitely been reading a lot of comics through my life, so, you know, I mean, it's an interesting idea to try something different, and then, you know, whatever, it's like a hybridized Japanese versus Western versus Eastern version, but, it's interesting. You want to think about, you want to be picky a little bit about where you surprise people is always a little bit of a risk. And for me, it was a surprise. And it was a surprise that was a little bit confusing. But that's not like, maybe show it to somebody else and see if they have the same reaction. Because if they have the same reaction as I do, then maybe that's an indication that... Hey, Squirrel Reaper. Maybe that's an indication that it could be different. And if they really like it that way, then maybe that's an indication it should stay. It's like a test, you know? Things have to change over time. That's definitely true. But I'm learning about audiences the same way that you are. And I don't know. I don't know everything. I really like the way this looks now. Kind of want to see what I can do to add a little vignetting. Even just writing a read this from right to left on the top can help. Yeah. Maybe a little disclaimer or coach people through it. I think if it's anything that's meant to sort of deviate from what's typical, I'll tell you something. People like being surprised, but they don't like being confused. Okay? So, like, sometimes it's a surprise and it's like a delight. But if it's something that, like, makes people feel like they're supposed to know something and they don't, that gives them anxiety. And that's a negative feeling. And when people have anxiety, but they don't know what's causing it, they won't even be able to give you good feedback. They'll just think, maybe I'm just in a weird mood, or maybe I'm supposed to get it, but I don't. I don't want to tell them that I feel stupid from reading this. So I'm going to tell them that it looks good when they don't actually feel that way. Isn't that interesting? So I'm trying to give you actual feedback from what I actually feel. And I want you to think about how if you want to, make an experiment to test whether or not that's the best way to tell your story. And this is just my opinion, but when I tell a story visually, I try to make it so that the way the story is being told is invisible. I don't want people to even understand that the story is a story. I want it to be something that they feel like they just did in their own imaginations. Nobody did it for them. The story just came to life. It can be that way. Not necessarily easy. And that's not everybody's way of doing things, but that's how I like to do it. Can't believe how many dropped frames are on this stream. This is like the worst. When I would pick up some mangas, they would have a, "You're on the wrong side. This manga reads from right to left," disclaimer if you open it from left to right. So how did you find yourself able to adapt? Because I never gave it more than like 30 seconds before I was like, this manga is unreadable. But here's the other kicker. I would pick up the English translated version, and I would actually buy it, and I'd be like, now I'm going to read this awesome manga. And I would go through it. I'm like, this manga is unreadable. So here's the little Max issue is I am not good at reading comics, even when they're laid out the way they're supposed to be, because of the way that a lot of comics sort of tell their story. They're a little bit sort of arbitrarily visual. And I have a problem with that. A lot of mangas are like that. And like, I'm a big fan of like Ghost in the Shell conceptually. I love the movie. We had it on Laserdisc. I love the film. I love the message, whatever it is. And Masamune Shiro, like, I love that art style. Very influential on me. However, I cannot read his works. And I own several of his graphic novels, and they're in the Western format, and I cannot read them. Despite them being in English, I don't follow them. And it's not for lack of trying. It's just really hard. So, what I tend to like are a kind of cinematic storytelling. And I get into this. It's a little bit like some comic creators do it really well. Like Usagi Yojimbo's creator, Stan Sakai, he has a storytelling that's, you know, it's very much, you could call it derivative of like Kurosawa, but that's a very sort of easy to follow storytelling style. Whereas like Todd McFarlane is kind of crazy, and Masamune Shiro is just sort of like very ADD. Like, I can't follow that shit at all. It's hard to say. Reaper says, yes, but I mainly only read manga growing up. My brother was big into comics, but I was the manga head. Okay. Well, what manga were you reading? We were talking about Lum on the previous stream. Not that Lum is on anybody's short list, but God, this looks done to me. I like how dark this is right now. And the focus is exactly where I want it. Maybe just one quick splash right there. Okay, check this out. Everybody shut up and listen to me. Oh, most of Bleach. From what I've read of like Berserk, which is nothing, just like snippets I'd find on Twitter or whatever, I like the way that comic reads. It takes its time. Like Masamune Shiro, it sort of felt like everything was happening like all at once, but also there was just tons of exposition constantly happening. Plan on ending stream soonish. I'd recommend I raid Avail. Oh yeah, for sure. Let's do that. Bleach has some beautiful art. Can I look this up and then I'll save and then we'll raid Avail? Let's see here. And thank you, Sexter, for the recommend. Bleach manga. Okay, this guy, I mean, just this character looks like the guy from Chainsaw Man. Tite Kubo. I have a hard time reading comics. I'll just speed through the pages and I won't absorb the art at all. Interesting. So when I read, when I open the page, what I do is, where's the art? Okay. Wikipedia, you have failed me. Okay, let's look at this as a alrighty. So this would be a good example of something I probably couldn't follow. All right, let's do it. That's a collage. All right. Kubo is a wonderful artist, but his writing can be left wanting. Bleach is primarily a battle manga. Oh, okay. All right. No, I appreciate the context. I'll take it on under advisement that it's not a representative sample. That's all. That's all good. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. We'll do quick copy paste. So this is the. Oh, that's cool. Soft light. What does that do? Color dodge. There we go. So this will be sort of akin to the final image. What do we think? I think if I squint at it, it looks cool. And then I open my eyes more and I still like it. Link's face looks a little too pink. I'll adjust that. Things look good. So one thing I'm gonna do, just as a caveat, and I'll probably do this on stream just to finish it off. But I think we're all sort of aware that I do this thing where there's some beautiful work. I think the colors and the contrast in this final image are looking good. I think this looks cool, but it doesn't steal the show. The eye first goes to the center. And then the eye feels free to like roam around and find these other paths. So what needs to happen though is like we need to get in there and like get like some cutouts into like these little sections, right? Things that do a better job of like separating what from what, right? So that a piece of one space doesn't feel like it's touching necessarily the same piece of another space. Small things, little separating details. Doesn't have to be anything crazy dramatic. You know. It's like that guy's leg is separate from that guy, you know. Just cutting it out a little bit. Getting those overlaps in. Probably my favorite piece since the Twilight Princess one. done any others since then? Probably not. This is definitely like the big, like, what the fuck piece. So much shit going on in here. And like I'm not trying to like rush it out, but also I feel like it's done. Like, you can't just chase down every fucking pixel, right? If it's gonna look good, it's gonna look good when it's this small. Look at this. That looks good. That looks good, right? It says, you look at that and you're like, cool, what is that? Enhance. And it gets that big, and you're like, cool, enhance. You know, you just want to get in there. Enhance. And then like you're in and you're like, I want to see all this shit. I want to see those teeth, you know? But then you're like, fuck, it's pixelated. Why didn't the artist fucking draw this at a higher resolution? You know, it's cool shit. It looks good. It looks good. I'm happy with it. All right, cool. All right, I'll probably finish this off like tomorrow morning or something. Looks good. Looks good. Okay, let's raid a Veil. Is she streaming?